ever drive around and just wonder to yourself about those traffic cameras, the ones that take a picture of your license plate when you're driving too fast or you go through a red light? Well, it turns out those traffic cams bring in big bucks. New data from the city of Seattle shows those so-called red light cameras installed at 4 intersections caught nearly 14,000 violators last year and raised almost $1 million in fines. Well, so now critics are pointing to that boost in revenue, and they argue the program is more about money than about safety. With me now is Mike Stollenwerk of the National Motorist Association. Mike, great to see you today.
Good morning, Contessa.
All right, let's get your take on these red light cameras.
Well, what we have in Seattle is a lot of officials very happy that they raised almost $1 million with cameras at just 4 intersections, and so now they're claiming it's a safety victory and they want to expand it. But study after study done by independent groups looking at large numbers of cameras shows that these darn things are correlated with an increase in accident-producing injuries.
But Seattle claims that the frequency of red light running has dropped a third.
Well, that may be, but at the end of the day, do we really care about red light running or do we care about public safety? This sounds to me like it's more about fast food safety and raising money.
Wait, but are you saying that you don't care about red light running?
Well, I care about it to the extent it causes accidents. But, this zero-tolerance approach, trying to drive red light running to zero, ultimately can backfire and actually cause accidents. I mean, we all know what happens when folks jam on the brakes on a yellow light in the middle of rush hour. It causes pileups.
But so do people going through and T-boning other cars because they're supposed to be stopped.
That's true, and some of these studies show that the T-boning accidents don't drop like the proponents of these schemes claim they do.
All right. So you say that the red light cameras actually could cause accidents. What would you propose in their stead?
Well, studies show they cause accidents, and instead of this, we should have real safety measures. Let's increase the time for the yellow light. Studies in Texas show if you increase that time by 1 second, you reduce accidents by 45%. You can also make the lights bigger. You can mark the intersections, and frankly, we know that it's not paying off on a big scale in the states that have done this widespread. All
right, but to be realistic here, if one city at 4 intersections says, hey, red light running's dropped a third, we've made almost $1 million in fines here, do you think you're going to see more traffic cameras set up?
Well, I'm sure folks are going to try, but motorists need to wake up and tell their officials no. They want due process, that if they're identified as running a red light, it ought to be they being identified, not just the registered owner of the vehicle.
Yeah, I know in Phoenix, for instance, once I was driving my brother's car and accidentally went through a red light. I didn't do it on purpose, but he did argue that, and he got out of the ticket because he said I wasn't driving.
And I think that's what Seattle lets folks do. If they just want to say they weren't the ones running, then they just get out of the ticket. But that just goes to show you this really isn't about safety. It's sort of a RoboCop revenue-raising measure. It's feel-good safety, and it's not good for us.
Mike, thank you for your time on this Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Heavy rain is really a problem once again in Texas, as it's been.